Listen, if you're anyone who builds a business on research, I'm talking consultants, agencies, freelancers, the game is changing, like right now. We're going to break down how a whole new approach is creating a massive opportunity, and it's all powered by a tool most people are going to completely sleep on. Let's get into it.
$300 billion. That is the value of the consulting market. And you know what most of that work is really built on? Organized research. It's the bedrock of everything. And that bedrock just got cracked wide open.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the old, broken way of doing things. Then we'll dive into the new tool, NotebookLM, and the core strategy behind it, what I call the research arbitrage method. We'll show you how to turn data into actual deliverables, and we'll wrap up with the most important piece, the mindset shift to competing on value, not your time.
All right, first up, let's talk about a problem I am guessing you know all too well. The old way we do client research. It's slow, it's messy, and let's be honest, it's completely broken.
Okay, just look at this comparison. It says it all, right? On the left, that's the old way. And who hasn't been there? You're drowning in browser tabs, your notes are scattered across a dozen random docs, screenshots are littering your desktop, and you have a graveyard of bookmarks you swear you'll get back to. It's chaos. But then look at the right. That's the new reality. Feed your sources into a tool, get back perfectly structured data, export only what you need, and you just move on. And that leads us to this. And really, it's not an exaggeration. That entire manual workflow, the one that so many of us have relied on for years, it just became obsolete. The kind of leverage this gives you, well, it's just massive.
So, what's the magic behind this shift from total chaos to, well, clarity? It's a tool from Google called NotebookLM, and it does something that's incredibly powerful.
Okay, this is the one feature, the one thing most people are going to miss, but it's the whole secret sauce. NotebookLM can take pretty much any content you throw at it, websites, dense industry reports, even YouTube transcripts, and instantly it turns it all into a structured data table. This is the engine that drives this entire system.
In the workflow, it's brilliantly simple. It's just 2 steps. Step 1, you structure the information. You feed all your raw, messy sources into NotebookLM, and it organizes everything into clean rows and columns for you. And step 2, you create assets. You take those organized notebooks and import them right into Gemini to build the actual client deliverables. Pitch decks, landing pages, strategy docs, you name it.
And this quote, this just nails the mindset shift we're talking about. This isn't about getting a little more organized or having tidier notes. You are not managing information anymore. You are building assets. Every single piece of research becomes a building block you can use.
Okay, so we have the tool. But how do we turn it into a real strategy? Well, this isn't just a new workflow, it's a whole new business model. I call it the research arbitrage method.
So what exactly is it? Well, research arbitrage is basically this. You find super valuable information that's already out there, often for free. Then you use a tool like NotebookLM to restructure it in a way that solves a very specific problem for a client. You're creating massive value just from that transformation alone. And this is where the magic happens, where the money is. The raw information was free or, super cheap to get. But the structured, organized, and focused deliverable you create from it, that's worth significantly more to a client. That huge gap between the cost of the info and the value of the deliverable, that's your arbitrage opportunity.
All right, so that's the theory. But how does this actually play out in the real world? Let's walk through 3 scenarios. You can see exactly how you turn that raw data into a high-value deliverable in a tiny fraction of the time.
Okay, scenario 1. Imagine you're pitching a project in the super competitive healthcare tech space. You have to show up with a really deep market analysis just to get your foot in the door. Now take a look at this. This looks like it took, a week to put together? You're synthesizing multiple dense reports into a clean analysis of pain points, trends, and opportunities. But this whole thing was generated by dropping 5 online industry reports into NotebookLM. You walk into the meeting with this, and you built it in under an hour. Game-changing.
Okay, on to scenario 2. A client wants a full competitive analysis of their top 10 competitors. The old way? Oh man, that's days of just mind-numbing clicking, copying, and pasting.
But the new way? You just drop the URLs for all 10 of those sites into NotebookLM, and boom, it spits out a clean table like this one, pulling their services, their pricing, their core messaging, everything. What was a multi-day slog is just done.
And for our final example, let's say you're pitching a local business on social media.
Instead of just showing up with your opinions, you can find 20 high-performing posts in their specific industry, drop them into NotebookLM, and generate a table showing exactly what topics, what formats, and what calls to action are already working. You're bringing data, not just guesses.
So all of this brings us to our final and, honestly, the most important part of this whole thing. This isn't just about a tool or a workflow. It's about a massive shift in how you compete. This is creating a brand new divide for freelancers and consultants.
And this is something you have to get tattooed on your brain. Clients do not care how long something took you. That beautiful market analysis is worth the exact same to them whether you spent 30 hours on it or 30 minutes. They don't care. They care about the value it brings them.
And that leads us to the core idea of this entire explainer. AI isn't coming for your job. What it's doing is drawing a huge line in the sand. It is separating the freelancers who charge by the hour from the freelancers who charge for the value they create. Because when you can produce elite-level work in a fraction of the time, the whole hourly model just completely falls apart.
So, how do you make sure you're on the winning side of that line? It really comes down to this mindset. A top performer sees these tools as pure leverage. They see research not as a chore, but as the raw material for their next valuable deliverable. They get that organized information is just inherently more valuable. And most importantly, they compete on the quality of what they deliver, not the hours they put in.
And that really leaves us with one final, very important question to ask yourself. As you go forward, think about this. Is the research you're doing just creating more scattered notes for you to manage? Or is it creating the raw material for your next deliverable asset? Because the answer to that question, well, that's going to determine everything.